How do you let God in if you don't yield, if you don't make an opening, if you don't provide a welcome? Letting God in is a feminine act. Letting anything in is a feminine act. So, you could say that the fall, the separation, was a masculine act of self-authority, an arrogant act of willfulness. It certainly wasn't feminine. When actions arise out of the balance that comes from yielding and from softness and from the feminine aspect, then those actions will never be aggressive or arrogant. They will always be appropriate and will always find fulfillment because there is equilibrium and balance that it has arisen out of. And it will always bless everyone because it will be inclusive. It will be inclusive because it wasn't initiated from an arrogant, self-sufficient, isolated, separated standpoint. You see?
I just have to get past that yielding equals weakness.
Well, if strength means being a block of concrete, which is completely unyielding, and if force is applied to it, it disintegrates, then I would encourage you to go ahead and dare to be weak. Because yielding brings flexibility. And when flexibility is met with force, it yields and doesn't disintegrate and break up into 1,000 pieces. You drop a block of concrete into the ocean, and the ocean just moves around it and is unchanged to speak of. You tell me whether the concrete has strength when it disintegrates in the face of force, and then you tell me whether water has strength when it yields and is untouched by the application of force. Where is the strength? And where is the weakness?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking. Hands. On the chair, the green chair.
Hi, Raj.
Good afternoon.
May I ask 2 questions?
You may.
Thank you. My first one I feel a little silly asking, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Well, your first question was, may I ask 2 questions?
May I have unlimited wishes? What you said when you opened this afternoon answered this question really, but I know if I go home and I don't ask it, part of my brain will come back up and say, oh, you should have asked this, because now you don't know. My husband and I have had some changes in our life recently, as far as work goes, and he is looking for a new job right now, and we're expecting our baby the end of September. And I guess my question is really why I want to ask this is because I'm having a hard time believing I'm going to be able to let go of the concept I had about how this whole thing was going to take place. And I don't know if I need to or not. Anyway, the question is, are we going to have to...
About what whole thing taking place?
About the birth and about where we're going to be living and all of that stuff. I had this whole beautiful vision in my mind about it, and I don't want to let that go. It's very clear to me that I need to focus on the movement that's going on right now, but at the same time, I really hate the idea of having to move and not being able to have him there for the birth or have him take time off, and things just aren't the same as they were when I kind of conceived of all of this, no pun intended. So I'm just wondering, is it more important for me to be reassured that everything's going to be okay, or is it more important for me to just stop worrying and focus on the movement like I know I'm supposed to?
Well, I'll put it this way. Regardless of whether things happen the way you're expecting them, everything will be okay.
Okay.
Secondly, when the baby comes, you're really going to find out that you're not in charge of anything at all. And you will find that whether you knew what the order of things was and how it would happen beforehand, it will happen. And you will find that at some level you were ready for it, and when it happened, you knew how to be with it. That's really the way life is as well. All of you like to make plans and have a dream and bring it about. But if you'll be with the reality of things, if you'll be with the way things work, you'll find, just as in childbirth, that you will be able to be right there with what is happening. Not with an awareness of private capability or capacities that you have, but with an awareness that at a very deep level, you are already connected with the way things work, and you already know how to flow with it. And there's no way to say, I did a good job. Right. The idea that you've done a good job is completely irrelevant when it comes to delivering a child. If you're trying to do a good job, you're going to hurt. If you allow what is happening and you cooperate with it, even though it is a great deal of work, you will know how you fit in to what is happening, and you'll feel a unity that goes very deeply into your conscious awareness of the infinite integrity of everything as it is. Now, just because you think you have some authority that you can exercise regarding the trimmings and the house and who's going to be where and so on, you don't have to believe it. You don't have to believe that you have that kind of authority. And you can dare to trust into the way it will all actually happen. And when you do that trusting into the way it all actually happens, you will find it to be graceful.
Right. Right. Thank you.
You are welcome.
Okay. I just needed that reminder. Thank you. The second question is something that I wrote to you while I was at work in May. And I sent an email. I'm just going to read what I wrote. Today, I'm recalling the moment at the last gathering I attended when it dawned on me that there really is only one ingredient that makes up all things. I was looking around the living room at the plants and the stairs and the wall and the chairs, and I could really feel and see that they were all made out of the same thing, God. So I'm now sitting at my desk looking at my lamp and my sunglasses and the pens and stapler, trying to allow that realization to come back to me, and I'm noticing subtle things. Is it really possible that the knob on my lamp could be humorous, and are my sunglasses affectionate and stable, or am I making this up? Do things have qualities like this really? And there are probably millions of lamps that look like the one on my desk, all manufactured by the same company. So are all of their knobs humorous? If this is true about the quality of things, isn't it desirable to recognize this when manufacturing something? Isn't the end result more purposeful? What is the difference really between manufacturing and God's creation if there's only one ingredient anyway? I was listening to the April 29th tapes, and you said something about manufacturing being the creation of something that isn't new, and God's creation is the creation of something new. But how can any actual object not be new, divine, and glorious if it is of the only ingredient, God? Were you talking about the intention behind the act of manufacturing, that we do not actually create if our intentions are not those of God's, but if our intentions are those of God's, and we recognize a purposeful movement, then isn't even the manufacturing of 1 million identical lamps creation with a capital C?
No, the manufacturing of 1 million lamps is not creation. The conception of the shape and function of a particular lamp by what you would call the designer of that lamp involves creation. And that does find its way into the form of 1,000 lamps that are manufactured. Absolutely every form you see, whether it's manufactured or not, is the tangibility and the visibility of God. And the substance of love and light is the substance of everything you see. Is there humor? Yes. Is there joy? Yes. Is there love? Yes. In a knob, or what have you. The one thing that I meant to convey in giving the answer you're referring to was that there needs to be less manufacturing of 1,000 items that one person had an idea for, and there need to be 1,000 items that 1,000 individuals had the idea for, so that you as individuals feel your connection with the movement or manifestation of what is ultimately God's creative action in you. Too much manufacturing is occurring to the point where everyone is taking care of all of the bookwork associated with the manufacturing and sales, and no one is experiencing their connection with the movement of creation that the artist or the designer is experiencing. And this is a change that is going to have to occur in society, where everyone again connects with the movement of creation that God is being right where they are. You see?
But what about when it doesn't seem like it would be practical for someone to make their own desk lamp? I mean, how does someone become involved in an actual act of creation or conceiving of a design or letting something flow through when they have a need? I mean, I still have I understand what you're saying, but I don't understand why it isn't all still desirable, or why it isn't all still valuable, I guess. And even bookkeeping, I mean, there may be a need for that. So what if that person is fulfilling that need as an act of, creating the books, or there could be an act of love for that too.
Being busy doing what apparently serves purpose such as bookkeeping, let us say, or being on the floor of the stock exchange, or being involved in banking and transfers of funds. All of these activities seem useful and beneficial. But the fact is that there is very little experience on the part of the individuals involved in those activities. There is very little of a conscious experience of love being extended. And I'm going to say, personally involved in an end result. Personally involved is not the best choice of words. I'm going to say, where that individual feels intimately involved with the extension of love. And as there is more extension of love made by each of you, many of the activities, such as bookkeeping and financing and so on, will undergo radical changes, and many of them will disappear.
That's what I was going to ask. If some of those things just aren't needed, or if things just get rearranged as people pay attention. I guess all that's needed is to listen every moment, and whatever is required, then that you automatically will be involved in the extension of love, no matter what part of the whole you might be taking place in, right? Like if there's an end product or something, if it's meant for you to be involved in some aspect of that, then I guess that gets fulfilled and the other things just drop away.
That's correct.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
The extension of love is not a matter of barter or of this for that. It's the extension of caring in practical, tangible ways. And so needs will be met not by money, but by extensions of love. That's the only way I can put it. And no one will ever be able to go into debt, because no one else would allow you to go into debt. The concept of debt will become nonsense.
How long is it going to take for people to figure all this stuff out?
It doesn't matter any more than it matters how long it's going to take for the pediatric or the department to become fully fledged and recognized. You stay with the vision now. Not to transform the world, but to be on the beam now. And as you be on the beam and others are on the beam, transformation will become apparent. You see.
Thank you.
These lamps here, the original from which these were cast was the result of someone's hand and clay. And love was expressed by someone. It is a shame that they weren't all touched by the Creator's hand.
When you said that some of that still exists, though, in, I guess, the replicas, does that mean it sort of gets diluted, or is it just something different?
It is a copy, but the substance of the copy is love. The energy of the form is love, the Father's love, because there is only one substance, and that is God. So, it is not meaningless, but just as this leaf, or this leaf, or this leaf are all touched by the Creator's hand, you might say, everything else in your experience should be the manifestation of the touch of the Creator's hand, the artist's hand. You see? Because that's where the fullness of being for the individual becomes embodied. You get it? Mm-hmm. Okay. We will take a break. Hands. Here in the front.
This is a question that is kind of mystical.
Let me have it back for a moment.
It's
kind of a mystical, weird question, and so I don't even know if I know how to ask it. I've heard you talk before that there's no karma from any past lives, if there even are past lives. But in this life, in religious ceremonies done through certain religions, who have you make vows and promises and covenants and oaths, is there any binding of that?
Any what?
Binding.
B-I-N-D?
Uh-huh.
Binding.
They say what's bound on earth is bound in heaven, and obviously I know heaven is here, so I'm just a little confused. Is like if you make an oath or a covenant through any religion, is that binding here?
No, it is not.
Okay. Can I ask another part to this question then?
You may.
Are there people here, meaning human beings, who have a gift of being able to add to your DNA strands or take away from your DNA strands or clear your Akashic records or any of those kinds of things?
No, indeed.
Okay. I kind of knew that in a way, but in a way I didn't. Okay. I guess that's all. Thank you.
You are welcome. And the lady in the blue and white. When you talked about clearing the Akashic records, is that like clearing your credit? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My question today pertains, as several others have before, about employment. I am currently employed in social work, welfare department for the state of Oregon, and I live on the Oregon coast. I spent a lot of years thinking my dream would be to live on the Oregon coast. It would be wonderful. And that was partly why I accepted this position. And I currently find that I'm really uncomfortable there. I'm very uncomfortable with the job. And my health has not been the best there. So it's turned out to be kind of a negative thing. So, like, be careful what you ask for. And I guess my question is it appropriate and better for me personally, physically, mentally, emotionally, for me to let go of all that and move on to something else? Or is there something there that I really need to be aware of, a reason that I need to be there?
No, it is not the right place for you to be. And you have found it out. And you've had a dream clarified. In other words, you have found that what you thought you wanted is not what you really want. And so you know that now, and it is appropriate to move on and not linger there.
Thank you. Then is it appropriate for me to remain in the social work field, or should I look at it?
Absolutely, yes. There is no question about it.
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome. Certainly.